Guys, happy Wednesday. Welcome to the Florida Treasure Coast Market Update. Today, we're going to dig into actual sales prices to see how much sellers are coming down. Stay tuned.
You better get fired up.
Guys, what's going on? Happy Wednesday. We're here every single Wednesday at 11 o'clock where we talk about the market here in Port St. Lucie, giving you updates so you're the most knowledgeable buyers and sellers in the market, right? Today, I want to look at the last, I'm going to go week, but I'm guessing we're not going to need that many. I just want to see a recent sampling, and it's not going to be perfect. This isn't something I'd rate a statistics book on or anything like that, but just maybe we'll dig into 15 of the last sold single-family homes in Port St. Lucie, and I want to see what people are taking compared to their original asking price and how long did it take to sell. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share screen. And here we go. And now you should be able to see the MLS. This is a multiple listing service. This is where every realtor brings their listings, pumps them in, and then they get fed out to IDX feed sites like Zillow, Trulia, Redfin, Realtor, eXp Realty, you name it, they hit it, right? So this has got all the data, the source of all the data, and this is what we're going to dig into. So you can see we're looking at Port St. Lucie, single-family detached homes. It's just your everyday home. It's not condos. It's not townhouses. It's not modular homes. It's just standalone single-family homes. And I'm going to look at sold. And I'm going to bet I only need 2-3 days worth of data, to be honest, to get the roughly 15 I'm looking for. Let's go back to the 10th. Let's see what that gives us. 15. Okay, perfect. So you can see 15. We got 2 up north, 2 on the east side, 1 on the west side, 4 kind of center city, 3 southwest, and 1 southeast. So that's pretty good list here. Let's see price wise. If where are we at price wise on these? Okay, we got a 650, 618, 511, 485, all the way down to, I don't know if this is a rental or a misprint here. We'll see. But this is a good list. I like this list. So let's come in and we can see right here the asking price was $725. The sales price, oh, I'm sorry, they dropped it to $699. It was on for 181 days, so 6 months, and it ended up selling for $650, right? So $650 compared to the 7.25, $650 divided by 7.25, that's 89.6%. So they got hit pretty hard. That's, I'm guessing, going to be abnormal, but let's keep looking. Let's see. Okay, so this one started at, man, that's a weird price. This must be a builder. 618, 413. They did not drop the price. Oh, and they immediately sold it for full price. So again, I'm guessing that was a new build. Let's see if it, yeah, it's 2025. So they already had the buyer before they even put it on the market, right? Let's check out this next one. This might be the same thing. 506,965. It sold for $5,000 more. We'll talk about that in a second. This is a brand new home. Okay, it was on for 97 days, and it sold for $5,000 over. Why did it sell for $5,000 over? There's a lot of different reasons it could have sold for $5,000 over, but probably they wanted seller to pay $5,000 in closing costs or something like that. Maybe they wanted a rate buy down, whatever it was. And the seller said, sure, but you're going to pay for it. So we're going to increase the price, but then you can use that. Basically, you're rolling in the costs of, cash costs into your mortgage. And that's what I'm guessing happened here. I don't know that. They could have multiple offers, and it drove the price up $5,000. We don't know. Okay, this one is another new construction build. Came out at 551, 539. These are some goofy numbers. They dropped it to 495, 274, and it sold for 485, which is just a hair under 10 grand, a hair over 10 grand less than what the asking price was. They were only on for 31 days, but you can see they were dropping. They were being aggressive in their price. They had dropped 551 plus 5. They dropped 56,000, then took another $10,000 off. Let me do the math on that one. 485 divided by 551, 539. Oh, I did that wrong. What did I do there? 480. Oh, I know what I did. Divided by 551, 539. Yeah, 87.9. Let's just call it 88%. So there's 2 under 99%. Here is a two-story. 515 dropped it way down, $70,000 to 445. It was only on for 56 days, and they sold it for 449. I'm guessing the second they got realistic on pricing, boom, a bunch of offers came in, and that's why they sell for $4,000 over. They might have had multiple offers on that. And you might look at that and say, holy smokes, they took a big hit. Maybe they took a big hit. Maybe their property was worth 445, 450 to begin with, and they just way overpriced, right? Without taking the time to do a full market analysis, we don't know. But it is interesting to see of the people selling, what are they selling for? This one had listed at 474.9. They dropped it way down again. What's that? Roughly 40 grand, 37 grand ish to 437.5. Took them 46 days, and they sold for 435, which is 2,500 under asking. So if we take 435 divided by the original asking price of 474,900, that's 91.6%. All right, here's another one. They started at 415, then dropped it to 411. Took them 43 days, and they sold for 420. That is a unique situation. So again, I'm guessing either sometimes you just randomly after 43 days get multiple offers. It just is what it is, right? It's unlucky for the buyers. It's great for the sellers, but they sold for roughly 9,000 more than asking. Or again, it could have been the buyer saying, hey, I want my closing costs paid for. Well, you can see right here. They paid for 11,200 of seller closing costs. Okay. So that's exactly what happened. All right. This guy right here was listed for $399. It stayed at $399. And in one day it sold for $399. Okay. That's what happens when you appropriately price your home. This market, especially at this 400 and under price point, 90% of homes that I'm seeing right now, whether I'm the listing agent or the buyer's agent, if it's priced right from day one, it's not as tough to sell your home as the media will tell you. The reason people are having problems is they're so used to overpricing at $20,000, $30,000 and getting offers, and you're just not going to do that. As you can see, people are dropping their prices. All right, let's go to the next one here. We got to be about halfway through. They started at $499. Dropped $74,000 to $425, and they sold for $395, $30,000 under that. Took them 117 days. So let's take $395 divided by $499. That's a big one. 79% of asking. Woofda. All right, here's another one. Great photos. Started at $479. Dropped to $425, which is $54,000 if my math is right. And then they sold for $30,000 under that, and it took 82 days. So $395 into $479. That's got to be like low 80s. Yeah, 82.5%. Wow. What do we got left here? 5 more. And these aren't $1 million homes. These are $300,000-$400,000 homes. Okay, this one started at 387.7. They kept it there. They sold it there, and it took them 4 days. Well, let's go back here. What are we on? We're on number 11, Cordy. There's one thing that I want you guys to see. Days to sell, 181, 0, 97, 31, 56, 46, 43, 1, 117, 82, 418, 30, 36, 0. With the exception of 1, 2, 13 of these 15 sold in under 100 days. So if you're hearing the market is very challenging right now, again, it's challenging for those who are overpricing their homes. Let's get into, what am I doing here? Here we go. All right. They were asking $328. They left it at $328. They sold for $325. $3,000. That's not a big one. Took them 18 days. Again, if you're appropriately priced, it's what you can expect. 99.1%. All right, this cat right here, $328. Left it at 3. Is this the same house? Oh, it's the same house listed twice. All right, next one. Did I do that on an earlier one too? I did. I was thinking, man, these two are very similar. But weren't these numbers a hair off? This said 499, dropped to 4.25. This said 479, dropped to 4.25. Okay, so they're doing different things on different MLSs. All right, so this one right here started at 300 grand, dropped to 290, and after 36 days, they sold for full asking of 290. This has got to be about 96, high 96s. Yeah, 96 and 2/3, 96.7, we'll say. All right, this last one, was this a rental? This must have been a rental. Yeah, it is a rental. They were asking 35, they got 35. So that's not really as helpful. So there you go. Out of 14, but we had 2 duplicates. So out of 12, you saw a lot of properties going for 79 to 82%, 90%. So what you're seeing is the people who are moving, the sellers who are moving their prices, those are the sellers that are attracting offers. But you also saw some that were selling right around asking price, 99%. Some sold for over asking price. What's the difference? Why are some people perceived to be, and that's a big word, perceived to be getting hammered and others aren't? They're getting full asking or over? Because the people getting hammered right now, in my experience, are overpricing their house. So it looks like the market's tanking and oh my gosh, it's so challenging to sell. But then you've got half the homes over here that are selling for full asking or more. It's because they're listing it at the market price. When I typically go in and I say, hey, your property looks like it's worth 450 based on all these comps, almost everybody says, can we try 470? It gives us wiggle room. If everybody's saying it, it's probably not the best strategy, right? So I just did a video a couple weeks ago where I talked about 3 different pricing strategies, that being one, and that is the worst producing strategy. The best producing strategy is to list it at market value asterisk, and you'll attract the most amount of people. The little asterisk is if market value is like 405 or 503, right? You're just over a major searchability price point. I always say just drop it to that price point. Drop it from 403 to 4. Drop it from 505 to 5. Yes, you risk losing that $3,000 to $5,000, but you're gaining all the eyeballs of people who are looking up to 400 grand or up to 500 grand. And that's how this housing market works now. It's no longer, hey, let's go look at 10 homes the realtor picks. I used to drive how we looked at homes. Now, probably 80% of the buyers are saying, Joe, I'm telling you what we're going to go see, because they've got all the data, right? So it's a different experience now because they're picking. How they search for homes matters. Nobody searches up to 505. Nobody searches up to 403. They search up to 500 or 400. So that's the one asterisk to that. And on average, you're going to do better because you got more eyeballs, multiple offers. You're going to do well, especially if you're a hair under where you should be. You're going to do well. And 60, 70, 80% of the time, you're going to sell for more than what you're asking anyway. I know it's tough. And this isn't a little thing, right? It's not like we're selling candy here on the corner of the street. And if we take a bath, we lost 57 cents. It's a 6-7 figure deal. I fully get it. But I want to say you've got to trust the experience of a realtor, but I would also say 71% of realtors didn't sell a home last year. So you've got to trust the experience of an experienced realtor who can show you data on the fact that they price homes well and they actually get those asking prices. Ask them to tell you the story. Hey, I see you sold one for 40 grand under asking. What happened there? How did that listing presentation go? What price did you tell them and what did they say yes to? Maybe the realtor's giving them these prices. Well, that's a challenge then, because the prices they're giving are consistently high. Whereas if 8 out of 10, 7 out of 10 homes that they're selling are selling right around asking or maybe more, and they can explain the other 2, 3 out of 10, like, hey, I told them this. They wanted to go 25 grand over. They wouldn't budge. We did it. They had a tough time. They finally dropped. And that's why it took 92 days to sell. Okay, that makes sense. That's going to happen every once in a while. I've taken listings before that I know are overpriced. I tell the sellers, you're overpriced. I'll support you no matter what you want to do, as long as you know your odds of selling at this price, selling at all at this price, are very low. Then I'll do it. But you want to know that, because if you get into a contract with somebody who consistently overprices homes and has these challenges, which is happening a lot right now, a lot of agents don't have the experience. Like I said, 71% didn't sell a home last year. And if you look at how many sold like 5 homes or less, that's an even bigger percentage. And then if you look at how many sold 5 or less listings, because I can have 6 sales, but maybe all of them were buyers, or maybe 5 of them were buyers. Okay, that means I only have 1 experience over the last 12 months of going in, researching data, and trying to understand how to appropriately price a home. Whereas if you've got someone who's doing 20, 30, 40, 50 listings a year, I mean, they're doing this on a weekly or biweekly basis. They're very good at it. They're very comfortable. They're very experienced. They're very accurate. And that accurate is the biggest word you should be looking for as a seller. So guys, there you go. If you've got any questions or anything, leave them down below. I'm happy to answer. If you've got something you'd like me to dig into in the market in the future, put it in the comments or send me a private DM on Facebook, and I'm happy to do so. Thanks for joining me. We'll see you next Wednesday at 11 o'clock. Take care, guys.